Well, you're welcome back. And boy, this morning our preoccupation is the Adenta Madina Highway and all that has ensued over there. 195 lives lost. And this morning, the police, 7 of them, seeking to do something that makes not much of a difference to the situation. But I'll tell you what does make a difference. It's the fact that we have eyes and ears on the ground for you. Roland Walker is there right now. He's got a crew with him, and very soon we'll bring you images from that location the morning after these riots. The smoke is still thick and the air is thick with the smell of burning tires. The people are still incensed, and emotion is bubbling under the surface, as Gifty and Apia reports to us this morning. But Mama B, why don't we start off with a conversation about the security implications of what we saw? We're joined on the phone by Emmanuel Suate. He's a security analyst.
In a bit he'll join us.
Indeed, yeah. We'll be having him shortly. But you know, we keep playing those images. They are quite traumatic to look at, but they make a point in a way that words can't. Those images of the police and how they interacted with the people on the ground there yesterday. Mamavi made an important point. There was an image of one police officer crossing the road with some children. They may not necessarily be his own children, but he was helping them cross the road. In stark contrast to what some of his colleagues were doing at the same location yesterday. And it is that violence that we simply cannot condone. But we have the images. We want to show you what happened yesterday when the police clashed with the rioters at the location of yet another death, the 195th death this year by vehicular manslaughter, if you will, as vehicles keep plowing into people attempting to cross the road at this very, very dangerous point on the Adenta Madina Highway. Mabi, I don't know if you've ever been on foot in that area.
No, I haven't.
I had to go and repair a phone in a shop not far from that footbridge. And I mean, people have to get from side A to side B. It must happen. And there doesn't seem a safer way. There doesn't seem a safe way of doing it. Emmanuel Suate joins us now. Mr. Suate, good morning. Thank you for your time.
It's a pleasure having me on your program. Good morning to your viewers.
It is indeed. Good morning. Now, I don't know if you've had the opportunity to view the images of how the police handled the situation at the Adenta overpass yesterday. But we certainly want to understand whether what we saw was in any way no standard operating procedure for the police in the handling of riots.
Okay, now a number of things. The first one has to do with the video footage you watched might be different from the one I have watched. If I knew that you were going to discuss a particular footage, maybe by a Joy FM reporter or Joy reporter plus a particular station, I would have watched it.
Right.
Because you see angles and then the timings and then the process are important. So, for example, I'm a cameraman. I'm not trained in security, so there are certain things I might not zoom in. I might disregard certain processes. But for me, I might be interested in certain processes.
Right.
And it will not be fair to just use one footage to analyze entire police response if I've not, for example, seen different footage.
I'm guessing you're not near a television right now, are you? You're not watching the JoyNews channel right now?
No. For two reasons. One is that I didn't want to have feedback. Two is that I deliberately moved at a distance, and so I have to move back from where and it takes me some time.
Understood.
But I've seen some of the footages. But let me just try to answer your questions. Are you trying to ask whether the police response to the demonstration was professional or not?
That's the question.
Fantastic. Okay, now I have to give a background to it because so you have generic templates that you can use for demonstration, but each demonstration might also vary in terms of intensity in terms of the anger that you see on the people, the casus belli of the demonstration. In other words, what precipitated that demonstration. Was it spontaneous or it was organized? How was police response before the day of demonstration, if it is pre-planned? What were the agitations of the demonstrators, how the state responds. And so when you go to a demonstration scene, it's a culmination of sometimes, depending on the context, people's frustration at particular state actors, depending on the context and conditions. The ability to mobilize those who are affected, issues that had happened before. When I say before, who had they complained to? What was the nature of the complaint? What were promises from the state? Were those promises fulfilled? So when you get to the demonstration scene, every good commander will have at the back of their mind, working with intelligence, if it is pre-planned and it's going to be riot, you realize that they plan in terms of the backup plans, that if plan A fails, B will come. And usually they have likely scenario, best scenario, worst scenario.
Right.
So when you go to the scene, given the history, it depends on, sometimes the individual commander's personality traits also affects how the demonstrators respond.
Right.
Some traits are sometimes a little different from others, and those traits sometimes have, not sometimes, almost invariably, will have an impact on how the commander on the ground at a particular time would respond.
Right.
Just opposing that to what I have seen, I saw one that Kwesi was leading. I think that to a large extent, and I saw a particular footage where the media person was trying to report, was very close to the action scene, but I didn't see the police pushing the person violently. But generally, there's something we call use of force continuum. So at the basic level, I'm generalizing now because sometimes there are different specificities. When you get to the scene, you're referring to the commander and your personnel. First, in the past, you say your men, but it's now, gender neutral. So when you get to the scene with your men, you don't really evaluate a quick one, the numbers, the things they are saying. You have a background to the demonstration already, if it is pre-planned. Even if it's spontaneous, depending on when you respond, you have some idea, rough idea, although the situation might be evolving. Okay, so when you get there, what they try to do, they're referring to commanders, is that you try to, if you have to disperse the people, if you think it's becoming like they are blocking highways, or you think that it's disrupting social life and economic life, normally you go with megaphones because of the crowd. So you tell them that you have to disperse, or the agitation will be heard by maybe a minister who is coming. You try to calm them verbally. And then depending on how the people respond, what you try to do, depending on the context and the conditions, is that you repeat. So the last thing you use, generally, if you are well trained and you have the resources, the last thing you usually use for crowd control, depending on the context and conditions, maybe rubber bullets and then the water cannons that you brought, the anti-riot vehicle. So what you do is that you speak, and then at a point, you use some minimum force, depending on the context. If they have horses can be very powerful, and dogs. What horses and dogs do is that sometimes they try to push the people behind you without attacking the people. So you push them back gradually. If you have enough of horses, you have dogs, you have the personnel, you position yourself in a particular way. And then if, for example, you want to clear a highway, you just try to push them gradually. First words, you push them gradually. And then when you become violent, there are different types of violence. Violence can be in terms of maybe stone throwing, and there are different types of stones. Stones can also come through shield. And then sometimes the police might respond.
I think we might have to reconnect with Mr. Soate there. A problem with his connection. But I'll tell you what we can do in the meantime. Roland is on the ground at the location of the riots yesterday on the Adenta-Madina highway. Roland, if you can hear us, give us some sights and sounds of the morning after. Right, we're working to bring you. Right, Roland, I hope you can hear me. We're seeking to connect with you to get the sights and sounds of the morning after the riots.
Well, definitely, Kojo, I can hear you, and also say hello to Mamavio Sabwaje for me, but we also know that this is the epicenter. This is where the event happened. Let me just give you a sneak peek of what really the activity has been. So far, the police have made themselves and their presence felt here. So we have a number of police personnel, apparently, who have been here since yesterday, and they had been here, according to the police officials I'm speaking to, since the statement was issued. And we know that joint ministerial statement that was issued. Now, towards the end there is those coming from mainstream Adenta and even beyond. So we're talking Fafraha, we're talking Amrahia, we're talking Otinibi, those from Dodowa, those from Ayimensa, Ebri, Pantang, and the rest of the communities. We're just close to the West Africa Senior High School, but currently what the police have been able to do is to make sure that people are guided to cross the road. It usually doesn't happen, if not because of the event or the protest yesterday. And so now we have the presence of the security from the Municipal Assembly, that is the Adenta Municipal Assembly in itself, who are also complementing the efforts of the police MTTD personnel who have been brought here. We can still see remnants of the bent tires, and if you go further, you get to find that the lenses will show you what has been bent. So you have the remnant of the used car tires that have been bent. It's still very much merged in ash, black ash. And advisedly, if you know that you want to trek here on foot, you have to make sure that your attire usually is not white, etc. But the police said that they decided to come here because in the first place, apart from just beefing up the personnel to ensure that the protesters would have some peaceful way to demonstrate, they also wanted to quell the demonstration that took place. We all know that they used tear gas and live rubber bullets, we're told. They didn't even live bullets in some instances. So the police MTTD have had personnel coming from airports. They also have had the central MTTD personnel also coming in. And the number of the personnel have been brought in also further from the city center to make sure that at least we are in a position to ensure that the police complement the security that is expected to be here. I'll be speaking to ACP Ofoswaka, and he is the director for Police MTTD. And let me just get a word or two from him, and then we'll go and speak to some residents in the area, those who may have witnessed the incident or even have not witnessed the incident at all, but who are also a party to all this. Because before I came on air, they had said that constant efforts to make sure that they got the Adenta Municipal Chief Executive, but also that from Lang Kwantanan had not been possible. So it's a huge problem for the residents, but the police are now here. Now, good morning to you.
Good morning. Thank you.
Okay. Now, we know that you have a number of personnel here. How many were first deployed to come and ensure that there's calm and then the traffic flows as usually it should?
Thank you. Every morning we deploy 2 people to be on the road to ensure safety on the road. As a result of yesterday's incident, the police administration has decided that we should deploy more men and to assist pedestrians to cross. For now, we are here to observe the situation. After a period of time, we are going to introduce the speed gun because if you look around, we have the 50-kilometer signpost. It appears drivers don't observe all those things.
And the 50 kilometer is the speed limit on which...
limit for all drivers to drive in town. By looking at the speed of knockdowns on this road, it appears they don't observe it. So you need to enforce it by using the speed gun to check. So anybody who goes beyond 50 kilometers per hour, he or she will be arrested and prosecuted.
The 50 kilometer is to ensure that at least even if somebody is crossing unaware, any oncoming vehicle you can stop within time.
Yeah, exactly. So the 50 kilometers is to ensure that you reduce your speed whilst in town. But even this morning, if we have observed, even the police presence, most of them are going beyond 50 kilometers per hour. So we want to enforce and ensure that drivers comply so that there will be safety on the road.
Now, we've seen that the residents have tried as much as possible to also be a party to this by ensuring that they help each other and the children that are also crossing. Is it that you had some interaction with them?
Yes, because this is a very early morning. We need to ensure that students who are crossing the road, workers who are going to the workplaces, market women, we assist everyone to cross before we sit down with them and we will discuss about the models ahead. But for now, as it's a crisis that we are managing, we cannot be interacting with them. We need to ensure that the tension is very, very cool. People understand what we do. At this period, if you want to interact with them, because of the experience they had regarding the accident and others, they might not have the enough time or understanding to cooperate with us. So let's ensure that the safety for now, after a period of time, the top hierarchy of the police, some of them will come and they will do the interaction with the community, and we shall do our work as road safety officers.
So you're saying that we're going to have the leadership of the police, not only with the MTTD, coming to meet some members of the community in a way and interact with them?
Yes, exactly so. The police administration has taken it upon themselves to come down. So they will come to observe and meet some of the opinion leaders. They have interaction with the assembly and others so that they can decide the way forward, because once we are on the road, we cannot go out to have discussion with the community. So a higher power team will come and do that.
But usually, what's the routine for having personnel either stationed on such highways, and then when you know that there are peak hours where citizens will have to cross either early in the morning or maybe late afternoon or mid-afternoon?
Yes, normally the concentration are during the peak hours. But looking at the accident yesterday, that is around the peak hour. We were not expecting that if an accident should happen within that peak hour. So that has drawn us to another level of our enforcement and safety on our roads.
Okay, but why did we have to wait to get to where we did? Because, you know, concerns have been raised by the residents, and this even had been advocated consistently over the last couple of weeks by the media.
Yes, last 3 days we were also here. We are having a training program for our men. We've taken it to the highest level, except that the unexpected happened yesterday. Not that we are not working around it. It's just happened as an accident. But there are some of the accidents that are very, very preventable. So we are trying to do that. That's why we are here today, to take a lasting solution. That will not be a solution for this accident alone, but a solution that people will actually appreciate the work of the police, and the community will also be so safe regarding traffic accidents and motor crashes.
Earlier, I was speaking to some residents who were concerned. They said, your men, if it's not for let's say an overspeeding or somebody who was parked wrongfully on the road, which allegedly they could exact something from the corporates, they never come to help in any way.
For that one, I cannot give any comment about it. But we need to enforce the law. Enforcement include maybe parking on the road. Even some of the drivers are not licensed. So all these things also contribute to what? Accident. So they shouldn't always think that, see police parking cars, they are in for something for their own benefit, but it's part of the enforcement procedures.
All right. Just stay for a minute. Let me give you some description of what was bent. We have the wires or the lining of the used car ties, and we know that these ties were brought in by the citizens or the community members, and you could find that even as and when the police came, they were still burning the tires, and you could find the remnants or the residue of the burnt tires still around here. The police said they had tried as much as possible within the period to make sure that this was collected within time, but we still have a number of them still around. They are dotted just across the road. You even look at the median. You get to the median and you still find that they're still around, and it is because the police say they want to ensure that when people finish crossing, then they are off the peak hour period. Perhaps they will call the municipal assembly, as well as get to the sanitation agencies and ensure that they come for the collection, so to speak. But let's conclude our discussions. When do we get all these off the road?
Yeah, thank you. Yesterday we were here with the NANBO people. So they assisted as well as the fire service. So because of this early morning, people need to go to work. That's why we put it here. But before close of the day, either NANBO or the assembly will come and pick them.
Now, the citizens who protested, it looks like each time there's a difficulty with either a traffic regulation or perhaps a road that needs to be done, unless there's a protest before you, the authorities, tend to act. Why?
Oh, I cannot accept that wholly, because I've been here on several occasions regarding traffic issues. So it's not only that when there's an accident before we come. Even though it's just very, very unfortunate what happened yesterday, by looking at the activities of the police on the road, I don't think it's because of an accident or emergency before we can. We have been doing our normal work, except that this very lane has been so scary. Like in my speech 3 days ago, I mentioned that it's very scary now for people traveling in Accra. Okay. So we discussed it on Wednesday with the scary nature of people. They don't want to travel, they don't want to cross the road because others have been injured or died. So not that because of the accident, but it's very, very crucial now. It's very, very crucial now looking at the situation. That's why I've said earlier on that the high-power delegation from the police headquarters will also come to do the observation and take a lasting solution.
Okay. So when did you leave here yourself? When did your men leave, and when are they leaving here, so to speak?
This morning we shall be here up to around 8 p.m. this evening. The first team is here, the afternoon team will come, then the evening team. We are doing observation before we decide the next line of action, because we need to observe the attitude of drivers, attitude of pedestrians before we can take a holistic decision. Okay.
So we have people crossing, and just like the experiences on the N1, even after the footbridges are constructed, they still don't use. Is there any regulation in the Road Traffic Act that says that if you don't use the footbridges, then you as a citizen or a pedestrian, you could be held liable?
Yeah, there's a regulation, the LI 2180. I can't precisely quote the regulation, but jaywalk is an offense. So after everything is done, for now, as we are managing the crisis, we don't want to go to mention that maybe it was this institution or others, but when at a point in time, we shall also enforce the jaywalk regulation.
When the footbridges are
not exactly the footbridges, but maybe we are going to embark on education. We are going to embark on education, because for the interim, how many people will decide to come and cross the road here because they are not aware? We need to embark on education to tell them that they will see police along the road. So anywhere they see the police, they should go to them for assistance. So if all these things are put in place, we shall let you know.
Okay, so the police still have their men there. You can see a number of them directing the traffic. They are doing that seemingly because they have been stationed here, but we're told that they'll be here till about 8 p.m. Then we're going to have the next shift of police personnel who will be coming in. But look, residents and those who tend to commute to and fro on the road would have their own say as to what really transpired yesterday, what their own observations have been, what needs to be done appropriately. And let me just speak to this young man. And what's your name? Which school do you attend?
Roman.
Roman.
Yes.
Your school is called Roman?
Yes.
Okay. How old are you?
13 years.
And you are always crisscrossing this road every day?
Yes, please.
Okay. And you just live close by?
Yes.
Do you do this every day?
Yes.
How scary is it for you?
Very scary. Like if you are crossing, some can come hit you and die. Every day, yesterday too, some accidents happen here. Today too, some accidents are happening here again.
Do you usually cross the road alone, or sometimes you are in the company of your colleagues?
I'm in the company of my colleagues.
So in times where, let's say, those oncoming vehicles would not heed your cry for them to stop because there's no zebra crossing, for example, here, what do you do as pupils?
I call someone to come and cross me.
To come and hold you
So
and aid you to cross?
Yes, a grown-up.
We thank you. We thank you for the interaction, okay? And have a nice day at school. But look, residents would want to have a lot to say about what transpired yesterday. We would also want to speak to those who matter in terms of the community leaders so that they can have some comments to make. But let me just speak to a resident we have here, or somebody who is usually familiar with the road. Good morning to you. What's your name, sir?
Good morning. My name is Jeremy.
Jeremy. Yes. Do you live here or you're just a passerby?
I live around Adenta. Yeah.
So you're familiar with the concerns that have been raised by you and your colleagues in the residence?
Sure.
Now tell me, how worried are you? Have you been worried over the last couple of weeks, if not months, about the absence of the footbridges?
I only ask myself, what is the future of this country? That's what I ask myself every day, because seeing people dying on this road, and politicians are using this road in the morning, in the evening, in the afternoon, anytime they are using this road and they see this bridge and they don't want to do anything about it. I just ask myself, what is the future of this country?
Where you live, how many meters or minutes is it away from here?
Okay, it's on the Dodowa Road. Okay, so mile 13. When you get to mile 13, that's where I live. Yeah.
And when you're crossing, for example, you have to cross to the next crossing point. Usually, we don't have zebra crossings. Sure. There's no policeman at the time, and so even you as an adult, how an arduous task is it?
It's very, very difficult, because you could even wait for like about a minute, because the driver is not ready to wait for you.
That's the oncoming car?
Yes, he's not ready to wait for you. So all you need to do is to just keep looking and just know that you are safe before you can cross. I work before Special Eyes, and we usually cross the road. There is a barricade, all right, a cement barricade. There is no zebra crossing. There is no way for you to cross. So all you need to do is get to the road and jump. You need to jump before you could cross the other road. So sometimes you need to sit on the barricade, wait for about, let's say, 2-3 minutes before the oncoming vehicle crosses before you can cross the road. And it is very, 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 very unsafe for pedestrians to get safety on the road.
A lot of waiting, a lot of oncoming, a lot of crisscrossing. What did you think about when the incident was happening yesterday, about that incident in the first place, the protest by the citizens?
I feel that is their right. And, when people are agitated for a very long time, they just come out and spew everything that is in them out. So I don't think they are wrong, because it has happened for a very long time. I asked somebody, and he said from January 2018 to this November, almost about 193 people have died on this road just because of crossing the road. And you can see they feel the pain, they feel the hatred that they are being rejected by the politicians. And they see politicians crossing the road, using the road all the time with their convoys and all other things, and they see what is going on. So they are very devastated about the issue. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. But look, more people are crossing, but we also have those who tend to use the road, the commercial vehicles. And from many of them, we would want to also get their views about many of the things that they say. And at the saying, Tobo, at the saying,
Namia Domboko.
Sakwa, Uta Yusupa.
Bacho, there be a Hanamanam.
Now, also, can't one more almost say a Sanka, Yenya foot bridges, Emma Momo passengers, Nanka, Omo Famo Cast Nana.
Bacho, no cray, I was saying, foot bridge, I say, because Udu has a Gambia, Nippon cross. Sometimes Ube did not so be the speed, baby, Yafa Honum. And there was a foot bridge, I said, Nanka Mutimi Crosso, Nanka Quani Mutimi Down. Sometimes Yana hear me phone bed about Tomo, above 9 to 10, no mapon. and the school for the name chum and sa munina chum sa sometimes no most when it now is not the speed no have cross
Sir?
Not the speed no have cross and to 1 year so another bono and there was some by footbridge my was and you know hotel I was in
what can I say and yet yanka wo mo adwemu se mo moye shankafo na na se mo ka na mo kaka no se nka mo de bebo bi but eto de bia un se footbridge ni ho ntine na no mo criss-cross sa
no cra sometimes no back on said I saw the car bebo bi o na mo mun se footbridge ni ha ntino uduru hanom na ebia sometimes wo be gina ba obi nyina enu ntino oni panzo gina na sa chana sa onya kwan onya gab keto bi obese orose na otwam na ka na bono nje sa na tente sere mo pa se aban no ehu e mo no my footbridge wa say more than 10 years in the car bobo nipa wa sa da bia after 3 days nipa wu nje sere aban no say o my footbridge my wa na yeso e ho ntoy wa ha
see. So all that he's saying is that, well, they are regular users of the road. Of course, you can see that it's a trotro. You can see the passengers in there as well. But usually, it's not an intention they have that when there's any pedestrian who is crossing the road, they will just knock the person down. Sometimes they are very much unaware about the actions that the next pedestrian may take, whether they're going to cross their car or not. But usually just happens that the pedestrian is just in front of them, and subsequently we have a fatality. He's also concerned about the number of fatalities that we've recorded on the road, but he's worried. Why authorities have not been in a position, even though they have that authority, to fix the footbridges. We're told that we have 6 of them on this main stretch, but they've since not been fixed. Of course, you know all the things about the explanations about the procurement issues and etc. But you know, sometimes it's a difficulty, and I want to speak to some of the passengers. Let's speak to the passengers who use the road. Let's get to have their views on some of the concerns that are being raised. Well, I've boarded throttle the whole of my life, so at least it's not a concern for any of us at all. And at the saying, now one can say,
but I'm a race.
Oh, hey, yeah, race, hey, yeah, Medina race.
Race, yeah.
Now, let's just a quite so the outer
for every blessed day.
Now, Osha, a man for you, Kuomo, and I say a car, apple warm, no moo. I had to take a crap. Why didn't you want to say?
The essence is ramping for overhead your for so many years in the creative top at step a bet my cost master. Nipper a woo. I used to a week be a nipper woo. Car bomoto, bought or Motimoto, so car both school for Uncle Cranem, yeah, bread, yes, some more money overhead in my way. Yeah, bread. Yeah, brepa. Even reasons is the because a traffic light, you know, at the form more than 6 months, I say 8 months in the traffic light, red one at the form up to now. I'm on John Wushi, police food, reasons is the because a traffic light to be the quanimu. A buta from so red at the form and suppose the food almost as I didn't some more among country.
Oh, yeah, Chana, ya cabro funtin, mammy, no kind of mammy church, the muka crap. So he's saying that he's a regular user of the road. Of course, you can see that he's in a trotro. So just like all of us, he's a regular user of public transport. Now, he's worried that we are recording these deaths. For example, he said even at the Reese Junction, there's a traffic light that has broken down. No authority, nobody working with the Ghana Highways Authority has been in a position to fix it, and it's a concern for him. Aya say moamoye amanfo anase moamowo man mu no nyame bi hamwa ya muntiminka aya wonso ya de hawana
masa ehame pa ehame race junction also sa na nipa me ede na nsa kora kaka ya abo me traffic light da ho so atase me fi say aviance police ni bo obi ani ho na pu masa least mistake and kaka abo me so atase enti no yesra ban no sra mo hwe no mo nye overhead no maye na ye bre nipa ewu wo ha entra youth no enra mo bufu ye no nyesa obi be hye da say o soja o lori kwamu a amaka antwem enra wo hwe ha pin wo ha nya de kotoa amanfo in the same person cry for mo epra ebimu so ye ntimi ho mo de asisisi a nti esro mo aban esro mo hwe no mo nyama ye esro mo why
so we're still using a typical commercial transport. We call it trotro, and usually these are some of the conversations that go on, and he is hoping that at least we're going to have an end to the impasse. We know that a statement has been issued by an inter-ministerial committee It's signed by the Roads Minister, Roads and Highways Minister, as well as the Transport Minister. We're hoping that some speedy action or expedited action could be taken. But let me speak to one more passenger. Well, he wants to come out. So, you know, because we're bringing to you this live coverage of what the action is, just 12 hours after the protest by the residents on the Madina-Adenta stretch, we would also want to speak to them about what they think about how this transpired. And you're a user of commercial vehicles, and you're also a road user. You may be using your own vehicle, etc. But you may have heard all the things that have transpired. What do you think about the demonstration yesterday? Just because we don't have the footbridges, and so they have to resort to that sort of action as a citizen.
Now, actually, the demonstration there was in place because this road was constructed not, if I'm not mistaken, more than 5 years ago. And footbridge, it has a purpose. Footbridge for a road like this is to enable the people to cross over from one direction to the other. Look at you right now, you and I, we are so able, we can cross this road easily. But what about even those who are even disabled? It's very serious when you are coming. For me, I drive over here all the time. And if you see the way people crosses the street over here, I nearly even knocked somebody down myself about 3 days ago.
When you were using your own car?
Yes, when I was crossing, when I was passing here. You see, the way the people cross is because look at that stretch from that place to this place. Even if you want to run, it's very tiring. You understand? To move from this like this, about 1, 2, 3, 4 lane, very difficult to cross. But I don't know what is happening. Everybody is just there. They don't care. And this is about 195 people that has been knocked down on this stretch. You see, should all of us die before the government come to our way? This kind of politics, and we need to actually be thinking about it. It's life. We are the people who will stay alive and vote for you. And now if you kill all of us, who will vote for you tomorrow? This is the issue. So for we are just pleading. No matter how it is, there are certain things that can be put on hold so that this kind of footbridge can be constructed. They have already started it. It's just a matter of some few things to be done to it, then it is completed, and then we will use it in safety. So we are pleading with the government. They should come to our aid. This should not be politics. When you go to the assembly blame other people. You call the police ask for them, they be trying. Most often you see them around trying to help, but how long can the police be here? The police will be here to some time, and they will have to leave to attend to other duties.
They can't be here every day, you say?
They can't be here every day, well, you see, so I'll be seeing them.
Okay, thank you very much. You have to go behind the cameraman if it's possible. But I have to say, driver, thank you very much. You know, sometimes he's also working, but look, so we have people who commute, you know, they try and cross the road using some of these items. And you can imagine somebody is having this on the head and will have to cross. And how speedily that pedestrian can do that, your guess is as good as mine. And we're hoping that at least we'll get some answers to some of the issues that have been raised so far. But let me just speak to a last resident. And then we'll get to wrap up and go back to the studio. And a demonstration, Matisse also now come.
We come.
Now, about saying yeah, demonstration. Demonstration now also back on like
the SEO, it's not. So we all joined them too.
So you joined them?
Yes, please.
Okay. So what provoked you to do that?
Yeah, because of the overhead. You see, this thing has to be completed for long ago. And so it's here, this thing have been happening. Sometimes in a day, a car will hit people like 2 down at a day. So it's really provoking. That's why we decided to join the demonstration while the incidents happened yesterday.
Wow. But now that the demonstration has taken place just because somebody had died, a young student of the West African Senior High School, now a statement has been issued. Government says that they'll quickly ensure that the 6 footbridges on the route are tackled. That should give you some respite as a citizen or a resident.
Yeah, we are hoping for that because even as I'm talking to you now, we've planned for another demonstration on Monday because this thing have to be completed for long ago. Like I told you earlier,
Despite the statement, you still go ahead with that planned demonstration on Monday?
Yeah, because it's something that we've been forwarding to the government for long ago, and it's not been happening. So we've really taken it take the opportunity, like the incident at hand, to continue with it till we get it done.
Do you feel that if you don't protest, government doesn't listen to your concerns?
Yeah, that's what we feel. That's what we feel. Like I told you, that's what we feel, because it can be happening not today. This is not the first time the thing have been happening. This is not the first time. So this time we are really serious about the situation, and we have to do or put it in order for the government to listen to us.
What's your name?
I'm Michael Tosu.
Charlie, Michael, thanks for speaking to me. And you also along here. What's your name, Hajia?
My name is Hajia Ramatu.
Okay, so you live here?
Yes, I do. Me country.
Ah, nyahwe ode country. Me church.
Yo. Aha. Aha ni dia ye pamacho ye ni abrepa. Cars ni boy dodo. Cars ni boy. Nti esra aban. O me bibi mfa homa. Ayi police for mo direct. O mo ntimi direct ankosi aga. Kani ka o mo be gan. Nti dia hwehwa ni say o mo be ya bridge ni mai. Overpass no mo be ya mai. Se na be ya yesu ya ho be toye. Fi say da chi na cars boy no ku o mo no. Cars boy adanta kuna 4 doors. Kuna 4 doors wa adanta papa. Adenti na ese basa. Ya mamu ya tia ties. Na overpass o man ya maya. Yan tia ties wa adanta habi. Adanta yan tia ties. Bi say ties e tia no. Ya husu mfaso.
Ananga za makra contain 3000.
Ya husu mfaso. Ana enu anso. Da police fo ni edi ya ni anje ho. Tia gas. Ana bullet no mo toto ye.
Ana so kan ho bi.
Ana no apa mi she ties 5. Ana
what's the ties 5?
5. The she ties 5. But the ayen I command this. Monday and you be mu kese. Monday they no check.
Okay, so the residents are saying they'll still go ahead with a planned demonstration on the 12th of November 2018. Yeah. And you also side with that? Yes. Monday, you still come back onto the street?
Yes, because I'm here for the Randolph. Yesterday's one wasn't really planned. It's because of the way the car knocked that was girl yesterday. That is why that's what instigated yesterday's demonstration of burning of ties. We burnt the ties just to protest.
Were you part of those who burned the ties?
Yes, I was here.
How long were you part of the demonstration?
For more than 2 hours. Because we had to press home our demands. Because I was here when the car knocked that lady. I was here. The car knocked her, she went into the air, fell on the ground. She started bleeding from the head. We went to the police station. Look at the police station, the distance to this place. The girl was just lying here. It took the police more than 30 minutes. This girl was jerking on the ground like a fowl.
You mean she was shaking?
Yes. Yes, she was just jerking and then bleeding. And nobody could touch her because police wasn't here. No car was ready to pick this girl to the hospital. This girl jerked and died on the road. When she died, then the police were able to come. When we started the fire, within 5 minutes, they brought out guns. So if you can start fire, within 5 minutes, police will come out and somebody will be knocked down by a car. 30 minutes, police will not come. Then we are not safe. All what we are trying to tell them is that they should fix our footbridges within 2 weeks. Within 2 weeks. I'm saying within 2 weeks. Listen, within 2 weeks, 7 people have been killed just on this stretch. Within just 2 weeks, 7 people within 2 weeks. And then our MP, when you have to talk, he said NDC spent 8 years, they couldn't do anything. Why are we giving you pressure within 2 years? That is an unfortunate statement for an MP. You don't have to talk like that. We know the NDC didn't do well. That's why we voted them out. You are in power. Yes. What are you doing? Tell us what you are doing. Complain. This thing has even happened. He's in Accra. He has not even been here to talk to us or to say that, oh, something has happened. He's just, we don't know where he is. But we are trying to tell them that the president says we should be citizens and not spectators. So now we are citizens. We are going to, Monday is massive. Yesterday wasn't planned. Monday is massive. Monday will be very, very massive.
Okay. We have to go back to the studio. Yeah. Does it look like if you don't demonstrate, nobody listens to you?
We are in Ghana, and that's what they have been doing. So we take action, nothing will happen. Do we still have road minister in this country, transport minister? Are we serious as a Ghanaian? So we block this road, so we bend the car, ties, nothing will be done. Are we serious as a country? we have been paying them with taxpayers' money, isn't it? All in the name of none of their daughter or their son will come and cross and car will knock them down. They are always in a V8 going up and down. Look, any minister or any MP, he or she shouldn't try coming here because we can't guarantee their safety. Like seriously, we can't guarantee their safety. They shouldn't try coming here. And we are just waiting for the policemen. When they are out, we will block the road. Not 2 weeks. So I said, this is our footbridge now. As soon as they leave, we will block the road today. We are just waiting for them to leave. If they leave, we will block the road now. We will block the road now. It is long overdue because we can't tolerate it anymore. Some weeks ago, I've heard say someone has an accident, some MP. Quickly, they send a helicopter to come and pick that useless MP of ours. Are they useful to us? Those ministers, are they useful? Are they working for us? Is this thing a work? Are they working for us?
Well, we have to go back to the studio. Mama Vikwejo, that's the situation here. The residents, many of them living just close by the road, they have daily experiences of crisscrossing the road. So they seem to have first-hand information as to the daily experiences they have. More so, many of them took part in yesterday's demonstration. And Mama V, as we hand over, they said 12th of November 2018, they will mass themselves up right here on the road and undertake that demonstration as earlier posted. 2, even if the police leave, they are saying that they could eventually block the road, even today. Back to the studio.
Thank you. Thank you, Roland. Lots of interaction there with the people who clearly are still very much affected by what happened yesterday. Threats of more demonstrations to come. Well, we will certainly keep an eye on that situation and report as it unfolds. But it's a massive ongoing problem. The Madina-Adenta highway was yesterday blocked by residents in a spontaneous protest sparked by the latest pedestrian knockdown on the road. A first-year female student of the West Africa Senior High School situated along that highway is said to have died, and this happened in what residents say brings to 195 the number of people who have been killed in knockdowns on this highway.
They burnt car tires, mounted roadblocks, and before long, hundreds of residents poured onto the streets. The thick black cloud of smoke from the burning filled the air. The residents were simply angry at another knockdown, this time for first-year West Africa Senior High School students. She was run over by a speeding vehicle at Adenta SDA junction while crossing the stretch. The driver, from what witnesses told me, sensing the anger and outrage of the residents who had begun massing up at the time, ran to the Adenta police for cover. That was after he was reportedly giving a hot chase. The residents say it took police more than 40 minutes to arrive at the scene, at which time the schoolgirl had died. The residents chanting and singing, booing the police away, would not allow any vehicle to use the stretch. The numbers grew by the minute, and soon police began to use some force to control the crowd of residents clustered on the stretch. While police used water cannons and tear gas to disperse the crowd, there was a fight back. They pelted the police and their vehicles with stones. And not even Chief Superintendent Kwesifori was spared. He, like many of the residents, had to run for cover too. This sparked firing of live rounds by police, indiscriminate shooting into the crowd. Chief Superintendent Kwesifori said they had to meet the residents with force to prevent a fatal situation.
Oh, for now, we have relative calm here. Initially, we engaged them, but a section of the youth again decided to use violence, and the police used appropriate force levels to stabilize the general security in this very community. So far, so good for our operations. we are now clearing the road for commuters, to go to their various destinations. And this is what we are doing, and also to ensure the safety of the commuters. This is what we are doing at the moment.
Okay, so the firing of the gunshots and all was to ward off the residents here, essentially. I see a lot of stones and pebbles all over the place.
Yeah, one thing is the police, we are for peace. We are in to stabilize the situation. But you might have noticed that some of the irate youth have that primary objective to injure and inflict wounds on the police. And officer safety in police operations is paramount. So we have to ward off those attacks using the tear gas and create desirable conditions for us to effect peace and security in this community.
I saw that at some point you were even caught up in the center of all of the agitations and you had to move away from, the pelting of the stones and all of that. But now you say the situation is stabilized, but the residents are still all over the place.
Yeah, we engaged them, we spoke to them to see the need for the commuters to go about their normal life. But some irate youth have taken the laws into their own hands, throwing all kinds of dangerous implements, stones, and so forth. And the police cannot permit that.
But Mr. Kwesifori, I was here when you started shooting before the stones were being thrown. It can't be the case where the stones were thrown at you. I was here.
Your colleagues might have noticed that we spoke to them.
Yeah.
They agree, and they themselves even said we should all clear the road. But all of a sudden there were some attacks behind us, which we came in. For now, we've stabilized the situation.
Okay. So you just heard the Kwesifori, who is the Accra Region Police Operations Commander, and he's been telling us about the situation here. Earlier, there were firing of gunshots from all angles. The police were trying to ward off the angry and agitating crowd of residents who were here. I can see most of them right now have taken onto the story buildings at the shoulders of a road. Some of them, went into, many of the mechanic shops and all the other places. It has been a very chaotic atmosphere here, I have to say. As you can see in your picture, the debris from the burning of the car tires is now being cleared, and then they are trying to fix the road so that the motorists coming from the Madina area will have a thoroughfare to be able to use this stretch after minutes and hours of burning of car tires, of roadblocks, and standoff with the police essentially. So that is the situation here right now. Earlier, we were at the exact spot where the young lady of a West Africa Senior High School was knocked down. Blood of a young lady splattered all over the place. Body parts, dismembered body parts scattered on the streets. And from eyewitness accounts, it took a long time for the police to even respond to the situation, to come and then begin clearing the area here. It appears the residents still, they do not have enough of exactly what's happened here. I see that they are still, lined up on the streets, the entire area. Earlier, they were pelting stones, they were throwing pebbles from all angles, just to ward off the police and get into that, standoff with the police. So if you can see on the stretch, pebbles, stones, coconut husks, all manner of things thrown onto the road. These are the implements, according to police, that the residents were pelting and throwing at them in the center of a crossfire earlier. So that is the situation. Relative calm has returned here, but earlier it was an incident. We will be speaking to some eyewitnesses to give us an account of exactly what happened, and as and when we have the eyewitnesses, we will get the accounts of exactly what happened. Let's speak to some of them briefly. Let me speak to this one here.
School girl be put school over car born or I say kind of born or I see the police for be no master so move to you na so to abo and o mutu to na so to abo ya down for bakokra bullet akano rubber bullet bakokra de kita me so come and fi say
okay, so all he's saying is that a young girl was knocked down by a vehicle here, and they essentially blocked the road because these incidents have become one too many. He tells me that he was at the center or the receiving end of some of the bullets from police, and okay, Okay, can you show it to me? Okay, all right. So you can see, you can see that one of the residents of this area who just sustained some injuries from the police agitations. They are showing us, some of the injuries and the wounds that they sustained. We will be speaking some of them. Then the ball,
rubber bullets, tachimechi.
Okay. Now one kwana nyamane tachi wechi ana.
No, madam for bakusu kobi ebika no ofori so am the hospital. Calm down. Yeah.
Hospital bang.
Om de bakoko panta bakusu ko Legon hospital.
Okay, but don't you agree say police forecast say moon calming down na calm me down come shoot too.
Yeah, calming down bebre. But yeah, calming down na more police but don't be bia na mo tutu, don't be bia na mo ma wonu shoot. So they are calming down.
So they say they were calming down, but police were unrelenting and they were still firing. And one of their friends actually is in hospital, having received some gunshots. He said, "See, I didn't know be."
So see, they catch police for some overhead in my yamba. Some of my signboard or no more signboard. And Sabana be fix road in my way. What say couldn't be this year way from Atomic Jansi to Pantan Jansi. Any accident, any car Kunipa 900.
You just heard that some of the agitating residents. The residents are clearly agitated. The residents are clearly agitated. They will not listen to any caution. They say that until the roads are fixed, they are going to continue to pile pressure on government and block the roads to ensure that this footbridge is fixed, so that it will allow residents, be able to use this place without any further knockdown. So, okay, I have another resident here. I will be speaking to him briefly. You say that the police are using live rounds?
Live bullets, yes.
How do you know?
We saw some of the carnage. Yeah.
But is it not the case that you guys are, obstructing police and resisting?
No. The way they came in, that's why the other guys also started throwing stones. It's the way they came in. See? Okay. Yeah, the way they came in was very bad. That's the reason why we're also rushing them.
Okay. So do you know any of your friends or residents who has sustained wounds as a result of this?
They've been taken to the hospital already.
Which hospital do you know?
I don't know. They just carried them in a car. Because we were also running, so we couldn't see what they were then doing.
Okay. But what brought about all of this agitation today?
Today, somewhere in the afternoon, a car knocked a schoolgirl over here, a student, died instant. So because of that, the mob also came, because for a long time we were telling them that they should come and do the overpass for us to use it. But they are not doing it for us.
For nearly an hour, the crossfire was on. Some residents were caught up in it. At least 5 persons were injured, and this man had his head smashed.